This video is going to be mechanics and techniques, el número dos, part 2, because I am not done talking about all of the mechanics that make up Yatagarasu. So let's not waste any time, let's get right into it. Not interfere. Love this stage. Skip.
Round 1. Fight.
This is Hanzo's stage, by the way. It's got a nice, I guess, I'm not sure what to call it, but I just think it has a really nice Egyptian-sounding song. Because what happens right here. Love the vocals. Anyway. Regarding mechanics and techniques, the first thing I wanted to talk about today is scaling, particularly how much damage your combos do. If you're familiar with other fighting games, you would know that as you do damage in combos, each individual hit does a little bit less damage than it would do if it hit on its own. For example, that jumping fierce punch didn't do the exact same amount of damage. Excuse me, the close fierce. Jump fierce, close fierce. That close fierce did a little bit less damage than if you would have just hit close fierce by itself. Because when you put it in a combo, it does a little bit less damage, and if you keep adding hits, those hits keep doing less and less damage. This game's training mode has a handy feature. When you hit your opponent, you can see the number of hits in the combo, the amount of damage that that hit did, and then there's a number to the right next to the word determine. That number that is to the right of the word determine, that number tells you what percent of damage the next attack is going to do. So, let me just show you the magic of math here. I'm going to do jab, jab. If you hit jab, jab, I've done 4350 damage, and then the number there says 72. So the next attack is going to be doing 72% of its base damage. Okay? So here's the thing. The jab, jab can link, if you're really good, into crouching fierce punch. If you time it right, you can combo that. So that does 5500 damage. And let's assume that that can combo. So what would 72% of 5500 be? Fortunately, I'm on a computer, I have a calculator. It's 3,960. And if we were to add that to the 4350, that would mean that we would expect this 3-hit combo, if this Crouch Fierce links, to do 8310. Let's see if that's true. Hey! 8310! Now I want you also to notice it says 8310, but then it showed us 61 on the right. So that would mean that if you could continue this combo beyond this, and you can, by the way, then that next hit would do 61% of its damage. And so on. No matter what combo you're doing, if you're in training mode, you can see what the scaling on the combo will be. I do not believe there is a universal determinant for what these numbers are. Jump hard punch is 95. Jumping light punch is 100. So you can still do full damage on your combo if you jump in with like a light punch, something like that. But it's tough to actually time it. The point is that if you're curious about how the combo scaling works in this game, there isn't much of a universal system like, say, Street Fighter 4 or Marvel 3 or KOF, where it's a certain percent per hit. It's based on which moves you use, and they do seem to be hard-coded into the game. I haven't found any general, uniform rules for the combo scaling, but they might be there and I haven't found them. If so, please let me know. So that's how the damage scaling in the combos work. They do scale by individual hits, not by moves. So there are some moves that hit twice, like for example, this super here. This super hits 3 times. And in a game like, say, Street Fighter 4, or depending on what kind of super it is in KOF, this entire super would do full damage and would count as one move. However, in this game, that's not the case, and each hit continues to scale the next hit. So it is based on number of hits, not number of moves. But in addition to damage scaling, there is what is called life scaling, or some people call it the GUTS system, G-U-T-S. This will be familiar to Street Fighter 4 players, but as you can see, the life bars are green when you have full health. And I want you to notice here, Close Fierce does 5800, 5800, 5800, 5800. Wait a minute, why did that Fierce do 5510? Why did that do a little bit less damage? And the reason is the GUTS system. There are 3 different spots in your life bar where you take less damage, okay? And what they are is when you have less than half health, you take 95% damage. That is, you take 5% less damage than you normally would. When you're at less than 1/4 of your life, you take 90% damage, meaning you take 10% less damage than normal. And if you're at less than 10% of your life bar, you take 25% less damage, or 75% damage. However you want to look at it, you basically, as you get hit, if you have very little life, you take a little bit less damage. And that system is in the game as well. Speaking of systems that you might know if you're familiar with Street Fighter, this was in Third Strike, and this is in Street Fighter 4, and in every Street Fighter game, even Street Fighter 1. But you might be familiar with the term negative edge. If you're not familiar with the term negative edge, let me explain. Look over here, look at my inputs. Okay, as you can see, my buttons turn green when I hold them down, or when I press them. Okay. If you were to do a special move in this game, like for example, Juicebox has Rekkas. Punch, punch, punch. Achieved the same way as a Hadouken, quarter circle forward punch. Aye! Aye! Alright, so the thing about special moves in Street Fighter and in Yatagarasu is that the game is looking for a special move input not only on the press of a button, but also on the release of a button. Notice that I'm holding the punches. If you release a button, and the game says that a special move could come out at that time, then it will. So let me just do it with this here. That's fun. So negative edge has a lot of uses. The number one use is like when you're confirming supers. There's something called the piano method. I won't go too in depth on that, but the point is that negative edge introduces a handful of strategies at upper levels of play, and that also makes using special moves and super moves a little bit more reliable. If you're not familiar with negative edge, it's not a big deal. Think of it as a helpful technique that will become more useful as you get to intermediate and upper levels of play. It's just a useful thing to know. It is in the game. Let's see here. There we go. Let's see. Let me just talk about pianos for a second. Like, let's say, for example, in fact, Juicebox is the perfect example. After his crouching fierce punch, you could just cancel it into the kick super, but you can also link the kick super. What I mean by that is if you do the kick super as soon as possible after the crouching fierce punch hits, and the crouching fierce punch has completely recovered, it will still combo. But you have to be very tight on the timing. Now think of it this way, if you were to hit quarter quarter and press and hold the kick button, you would only get one chance for that super to come out. But if you press quarter quarter and press and release the kick button, you get 2 chances for the super to come out, both the press and the release. And with the super, and with pretty much every super in the game with one exception, Chada's Super 2, the light and hard versions of a super are the same. So it doesn't matter if you get the light kick or the hard kick. You just want a kick to come out so that you can get that super. So assuming your motion is correct and you have it practiced, you can buffer the motion and then press, press, release, release along the kick buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that gives you 4 different timings for that super to come out, again, assuming your motion was correct. And that's one way that you can make this very, very tight window for linking this super more consistent. And that's all because of negative edge. What? Okay. He's fun. He makes Bruce Lee noises. I like him. Okay, now after negative edge, the reason I was talking about negative edge first is because it's important for the next mechanic, and that is what's called damage reduction. This mechanic is in Melty Blood, if you've ever played that game, and if you have not, what it comes down to is you can reduce the damage that you're taking in a combo in the middle of a combo. Okay, let me illustrate this. Let me record Jet to do a combo here. Okay, here's a little 4-hit combo that he did, right? Okay, and I want you to listen for a sound effect here. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, I'm not even doing it. Let's see, you should hear a distinct sound effect. There it is. Woo! There it is. So you'll hear a little ding noise if you successfully do this. So what I am doing is, in this game, if you are getting hit with any punch attack, and you hit a punch button at that time, you will reduce that damage by a very small amount. We're talking about 5% or less depending on where you are in the gut system. See that? And also notice at the top left corner of the screen it says reduce. Reduce. There it is. So that last punch that he did a little bit less damage because I was hitting punch buttons during that. It's looking for a specific input at a particular time. For any punch that you're getting hit by, you can hit any punch. For any kick you're getting hit by, you can hit any kick. Okay? The window is very small. I think it's barely 2 or 3 frames, although I don't have an exact number for you. But what I need to, what I want to tell you is that negative edge inputs are accepted. So basically, if you mash on the punches, you're pressing and releasing the button a lot, and that makes it easier to hit the damage reduction timing. You don't really have to be super precise. If you just sort of mash, one of those presses or releases might trigger the damage reduction. So negative edge inputs are registered for not only specials and supers, but also for damage reduction. And if you'd like to see, like, in the training mode options, there is something called auto reduce. You can set it to on, off, or random. So let me just do a quick combo with Juzumaru and show you how much damage that Jet can reduce if you were to reduce it. Aye! So that does 17,130. If we auto reduce this, it does 16,532. So only a couple of hundred damage was saved. That's ultimately not a big deal, but it could save you in an end of round scenario. Reducing damage might be something that we'll look into as you get better in the game and say, well, is there a way that I could have just taken a little bit less damage? Or they always do the same combo, so if I press these buttons, I can take a little bit less. Okay. Let's see. Next is counter hits. Okay. There are 4 different types of counter hits in Yatagarasu. 4 of them. The first one is the high jump counter. Okay? In other words, if you super jump, you take extra damage if you are hit out of that super jump. Let me give you a reference here. Far Fierce Punch does 6,700 damage. Now he's going to high jump at me. And that did 13,400. If you high jump at someone and they hit you out of a high jump, by the way, this could be a neutral high jump, this could be a backwards high jump. Forward, neutral, forward, neutral, back. Ah, I missed it. Forward, neutral, back. Boom! Same deal. If they super jump at all, you get double damage on your normals if they hit. And in this game, with the low life totals, remember, there's 51,000 health. I just shaved off a quarter of his health with that. Shabam. High jumping can be very risky if you do it too much because of the high jump counter. But the double damage is only on normals. If I do, say, an air throw or a special move of some kind, it does an extra 50% damage, so 1.5x damage. That is the high, excuse me, that is the high jump counter. Now another counter state that is in this game is the crouching counter. Again, Fierce Punch does 6,700. if the dummy, excuse me, if your opponent is crouching, if you get hit while crouching, just getting hit, period, while crouching, all attacks to do an extra 25% damage. Okay? So, Fierce Punch does 6,700. But if they're crouching, 8375. No extra hit stun, but an extra 25% damage. So just getting hit crouching, period, causes that. Which makes crouching somewhat dangerous. Because you're just going to get hit harder. There is another counter state. Let me go ahead and switch to Chata. That'll make this easier to show. There is a counter hit state called the Super Armor Counter. Oops. Let's go back. Record. Trigger Impact. So Chata's this button right here, that's his Dragon Punch motion plus a punch button, gives that little punch. The EX version has Super Armor. Oops. When I say Super Armor, what I mean is my hits will register and he will take the damage, but he will not actually take hit stun, and he can go through whatever you do. Now I want you to notice at the top of the screen here what happens. Notice above the damage numbers it says Super Armor Counter. If you do a move that has Super Armor and you get hit, you can go through whatever move hits you. However, if you are hit during Super Armor, any hits you take do an extra 50% damage. Also, because you are armoring the hits instead of actually getting comboed, no combo scaling occurs. So that did 12,600 damage, even though it caused no hit stun. When under normal circumstances... Oh, reduce is on. Turn reduce off. Is outstanding. Under normal circumstances, that would do 14,100. And let's see here. Let's put the auto guard. No, it's a rubber counter. Shaboom! Wait, does he have extra defense? 57. The third hit does a little bit extra. But, in fact, it's a bit better with normals. Boom, 8,700. Whereas, if you were not in that Super Armor state, that would only do the 5,800. You take a little bit extra damage from normals. And for specials, the damage formula may be different, but I might be mistaken on that. But if you use Super Armor moves too much, you can take extra damage by that virtue. And there is one more counter hit state that I'm just going to mention, but I'm going to cover more in-depth in a later video. But there's something called a BL counter. If you're familiar, I mentioned in previous videos that this game has parries like Third Strike. Yatagarasu does not refer to them officially as parries. They're referred to as button locking, or BL. And what a BL counter is... Let me go ahead and record the dummy here. Let's see. I set the dummy to jump and high parry just as he hits the ground. So what a BL counter is... Hold on a second. Let me go ahead and low parry when I hit the ground. There we go. A BL counter is what happens if you are hit immediately after you attempt to parry in the wrong zone. Okay? If you attempt a low parry and I immediately hit you with a move that is not low parryable, a BL counter is registered. And that attack will do 1.5, an extra 50% damage on the ground and cause extra hit stun on a BL counter. Okay? This can also be illustrated below there. Let me try a high. Okay. Assuming it wouldn't be a trip, would also... Boom, there's a BL counter. So, you get an extra 50% damage, and if they're on the ground, you also get extra hit stun. How much extra hit stun? what you get is a couple of frames. Again, I don't want to go too far in depth into it. I'm going to cover them fully in depth in the next video when I cover all about parries, button locking, and BL counters. But it is the 4th counter hit state. If you attempt to parry too much and you're hit during the recovery period of the parry, or if you parry the wrong zone, then you do take extra damage. But that's on the ground. In the air, something completely different happens. Okay? In the air, what happens is no extra damage, but you get launched for a juggle. And for many characters, they can get a completely ridiculous amount of damage off of a BL counter. Chada can get half of your life for no meter if you mistime an air parry, and he BL counters you with a standing fierce, among other things. So BL counters are ridiculously scary. I'll give you one example combo. Let me see here.
Round 1, fight.
Core, boom, parry, miss. Great moment! So, yeah. He just got about 2/3 of your life just because you really, really wanted to jump in and parry. So you have to be really careful where you attempt parries, especially in the air, because someone can destroy you with the 4th counter hit state, the BL counter. So just to reiterate, that's the high jump counter, the crouching counter, the super armor counter, and the BL counter. You might say, well, what about traditional counter hits? Like, what if you hit someone at the beginning of the startup of one of their moves? If you interrupt something, do you get a counter hit? In this game, the answer is no. This game does not have traditional interrupt the startup of a move counter hits. Running punish. Okay, only 2 more things to cover here. Let me see, and that would be stun, which in this game is called Piori. In the training mode menu. That might be translated later. But let's see. Let's turn Piori on. Should already be on. But if you hit someone a lot, again, this will be familiar to other 2D fighters. Hear the chicks? There's the dizzy. And you can also see a little counter that happens when you do get dizzy. If you hit someone a lot, over and over, you can dizzy someone. You hear the dizzy chicks. And then you see on the top right, there's a little counter. You can make that number go down faster by mashing. So if you get stunned, you just mash on the sticks and the buttons, and for every input, that should reduce the number some more. Okay? Now, how stun works, I want to show you something. Jump. I'm going to show you a combo. Ooh, not that one. This one. Not that one. This one. Boom. 5 hits. You might think, well, that combo does a whole lot of stun, right? Actually, no. That combo does the exact same amount of stun as Jump Fierce. How this game works is, if you do any combo, the hits after the first hit do not do any stun damage in this game. The first hit of the combo is the only thing that does stun damage. So no character is going to be strong because they have super strong stun ability, where they can spend a bunch of meter, force you to eat a 20-hit combo and do half of your, like 3/4 of your stun potential or anything like that. No, only the first hit of every combo actually causes your stun meter to go up in this game. In addition, your stun gauge does not go down unless you hit your opponent. So I've been hitting Crow a lot, right? You would think that just by me standing around here and talking, he's lost his stun. No, it's still there. If he doesn't hit me, it doesn't go anywhere. Another way that this game promotes offense. If you were losing and got your ass kicked earlier in the round, you have to hit me. Otherwise, I'm still going to stun you next time I touch you. Counter hits, those 4 counter hits I was talking about, they don't affect stun at all. Universal guard breaks, which is the hard punch and hard kick, and throws, including command grabs, do not do any stun damage. Okay? Also, if you do stun someone, when you stun them, they will launch into the air, and it's possible to get a juggle. Oh, I missed. But as you can see, I hit him with that jumping light kick on that stun. So you could juggle them off of the stun, and then they land, and then you get another combo. Oh, I missed. Alright, let's try one more time. There we go. And then there's the dizzy. Shaboom! So you can combo off of the dizzy itself when it launches, and then they recover, they're dizzy again, and you can continue the combo some more. So that's how stun works in this game. Last thing I wanted to cover in this video. This will look familiar to some of the hardcore fans of Third Strike. But let's say you hit someone into the air with a combo. Let's see here, let's do this one. Let's do this way. That's super comboed like normal. Hanzo couldn't do anything about that. Let's do quarter C. Oh, wrong one. Now, no, that didn't do it. Let's turn off the Piori. Nope. Okay, it's gonna be one more hit. Okay. Boom. There it is. Took me a second, sorry guys. But if you combo someone into the air, and you hit them out of the air with a normal, they backflip. And this is what some people call an air reset. In Third Strike, and in this game, some super moves can combo someone out of an air reset state, but only if there were juggle points remaining. And Jet is able to show some good examples here. I'm going to do this, EX quarter punch. Excuse me. And then I hit Fierce. Forward Fierce. Boom. And then I can combo his punch super. And I want you to notice that the numbers turn red, okay? The numbers turn red because they cannot block that super, but they can parry it. So right there, it's possible for Hanzo to parry that and then punish that super. But then the Jet player could just alter the timing on the super if the Hanzo's predicting it at the wrong time, okay? So it's possible for that super to get stopped or parried and get punished. So this is not a true combo, but if they don't parry it, then there's nothing they can do about it. Now I also want to show you that if I add another hit before that forward Fierce, then that no longer works. Let me sit one hit after. I want you to notice the combo number here. 4 hits. And then it went down to 1 again just because the dummy decided not to block when they hit the ground. That didn't hit out of the air. The dummy hit the ground, and then they just decided not to block. But the idea is, if I do another quarter punch before I hit that Fierce, the juggle potential in that combo is gone. And even though I air reset them, that super did not work at all. So in order for you to air reset someone and then go for the juggle super, there have to be juggle points remaining in your combo. In other words, juggles would have had to have been possible with other things, not just the super. Oh, shut up. So, Juzumaru's second super can do that, Jet's first super can do that, Ko's fireball can do that, depending on the scenario. So that's an interesting thing with the supers in this game. And that just about covers all of the systems and the mechanics for Yatagarasu version 4.3. I don't know if Attack on Cataclysm is going to add any mechanics or anything like that. I hope they do, just to keep the game fresh. But at the same time, if you understand everything that I've explained to you in this video and the past 2 videos, then you should be really well put to begin, you know, actually doing really well and understanding everything that goes on. You ever get counter hit out of the air? Why did I bounce off the floor? Oh, it was a BL counter. Why did that combo work? That wouldn't be possible under normal circumstances. Oh, I got BL countered on the ground. You know, was there, you know, how did he avoid death there? Why did that do less damage? Oh, the gut system. Maybe he reduced the damage. So now that I've explained all of these mechanics and things to you, hopefully when you watch Yatagarasu matches, it all makes a little bit more sense. Now I do still have one more thing. The next video is going to be all about parries. Parries themselves have quite a lot of information in this game, and I'm going to spend a lot of time just making sure that you can absorb that information. But that's it for this video. Thanks a lot for watching. Thank you very much for your interest in Yatagarasu. I hope you pick up Attack on Cataclysm like I'm going to when it does come out on Steam, and hopefully it will still be coming out on consoles. I'll see you guys later.